I don't have the energy to do a lip sync to that song today. I'm struggling. I'm telling you, you guys have no idea. Just seriously, before you go to bed every night, pray to whatever you believe in that you never develop any kind of autoimmune disease or anything that like wrecks your body, because it's so hard to just live and just do things when your body is fighting things and in chronic pain all the time, and all of your body's energy is directed towards, healing something that's impossible to heal, so you just have no energy for the things you want to do. Oh, I'm barely holding on here. All right, are we ready? I'm ready. Are you ready? Is anybody ready? Are we all ready? Okay. All right. Hey everyone, Elaine here. Welcome back to episode 3 of Elaine is watching Jem and the Holograms, my weird Jem and the Hologram rewatch / commentary series, I guess you could call it. Episode 3 was just I I don't even know where to begin with this episode. It was like the episode itself was completely on speed. Even though the episodes are 22 minutes, it felt like the episode was like 6 minutes or something. It went by so fast and there was so much going on and it was all absolute bonkers chaos. I don't even know. It was crazy. I actually had to watch it twice because I was like, I don't know what's going on right now. So I'm going to do my best to recap this for you. Things don't stay in my head very long, and that's one of the reasons why these recaps can be kind of funny, because I can't remember things like literally sometimes right after I see them. I think it's kind of like that thing they call booknesia, like where you read a book and then like in a week you forget about it. Whereas like I could like listen to an audiobook and I forget about it in like 2 hours. What can I tell you? So I did take some notes that I'm going to refer to because I don't want to forget anything, because there were so many like weird things in this episode that I had to start writing things down because it was happening so quickly and it was so out of control. And I'm like, I'm never going to remember some of these like weird, bizarre, juicy details. So I have my phone and I wrote some notes on here. So I'm going to refer to my notes. But in general, I like to do these commentaries like just right off the top of my head, but then I'll forget stuff because I forget stuff and then weird things come up. And then when I'm editing, I'm thinking, oh my God, how could I have missed that like really weird thing that happened? So I did take some notes this time because I don't want to forget anything. Previously on Jem and the Holograms, episode 3 is called Kimber's Rebellion. And I could have sworn that Kimber rebelled some other time, or at least in my mind, I was thinking that Kimber rebels later, because her and Stormer form a group. Don't they form a group? I don't remember the song that they release, but I remember the episode where Kimber and Stormer meet because they're both kind of disillusioned with their positions in their respective bands, and they form a duo. And it becomes like super popular. And I think that's the episode that the Misfits song, How Does It Feel, comes out of. That song is like one of my favorite Misfits songs, next to like, I'm a Giant and like Designing Woman and Welcome to the Jungle, right? But like, How Does It Feel is like such a great, great example of what makes like some of the later Misfits songs really powerful and very poignant. And I think it comes out of that episode where like Stormer gets all this fame or whatever, and like Pizzazz is like, how does it feel to be so popular? And it's like this really sort of negative toned kind of thing. I love that song so much, but I could have sworn that happened later. I did not remember that Kimber had a rebellion in episode 3. So Kimber's rebellion is technically the focal point of this episode. But honestly, it is like the least interesting thing about this episode. So, the episode starts out, all the episodes have a recap. And I think my favorite thing about this recap is how ridiculous it is. And like, it really shows you how bonkers all of the other episodes have been, because they're just like, this happened and this happened and there was this and this. And I just cracked up because the woman who's saying it is saying it with such absolute like non-seriousness. She's like, the like Zipper sabotaged the Misfits. What did she say? She's like, Zipper was sent to sabotage the Misfits, and he set the Starlight House on fire.
Eric sent Zipper to intimidate Jerica, and he accidentally set Starlight House on fire.
And it's like, are you serious? Like,
that means
how do you say fire and I don't know why she says it like this, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm never saying fire any other way from now on. I'm just gonna be like, oh my God, those shoes are fire! And that's how I'm going to do it from now on, and you're never going to be able to escape it. I promise you.
Jem will be right back after these messages.
So it recaps all the mayhem that happened in episode 1 and technically episode 2. And episode 2 ended with them on the boat, careening towards their deaths, towards an oil tanker, which is just because that makes sense. So it picks up right at the same kind of moment, and everybody is clinging for dear life. The Baroness von Fish is stuck to a wall. She's like, please save me, right? And then like everyone is like rushing to get to the front of the ship, because for some reason, when the Baroness got on the intercom and called the captain to remove the Misfits in the last episode, he literally just left the cockpit. Is it a cockpit when it's a boat? I'm saying it, but I'm not. I don't know if you could see my wheels turning. I'm like, he left the cockpit. Is it a cockpit? Corey, are you looking it up for me? I feel like it's a The bridge, that's right. Like the Enterprise. God damn it. I've lost my Trekkie card and my black card all at the same time. He leaves the cockpit, the bridge of the USS Baroness von Fish yacht, and him and the second in command guy actually leave the bridge to go to the party to remove the Misfits. Like, don't they have security? I don't understand why Duchess Von Fish lady doesn't have actual security that she can call to remove the Misfits, but instead the captain has to leave the bridge to do this. So the captain leaves the bridge, goes to remove the Misfits, and the Misfits go onto the bridge and start pressing buttons, which is how we ended up careening. I like the word careening. I'm just going to keep using it because I like the way it sounds. Careening towards an oil tanker. So he runs back to the bridge to try to steer the yacht away from the oil tanker. There's absolute chaos. Tables are falling over. Jem goes flying over the railing, and Rio has to grab her, and he's holding on to her by her wrists or something. And Shayna and Billy D. Williams go sliding by because they're together now, I guess, on the couch, and they tumbled together in the chaos. And the captain guy saves the ship. He turns it, and he writes to port, and everything is good. So Rio pulls Jem over the railing back onto the ship, and they just make out. Like, she's like, oh, thank you for saving me. And she just starts making out with Rio. Now, if I recall in the last episode, Rio was like, I don't even know you. I don't like you. I have no idea why you're even asking me this question. And now she's like planting kisses on him. Look, I understand that this is like a speed thing. What does she say about speed, about relationships that start under intense emotional circumstances don't last, or something like that?
Relationships that start under intense circumstances, they never last.
So Jem is having an intense emotional circumstance again, and thank you, Corey, again, and Rio saves her, and she immediately is like, oh, thank you, and like starts doing the tongue dance with him, and Rio is like messed up. Poor Rio. Okay, Mr. Pachenko is having a rough life. he's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is bad. This should not be happening. I can't be betraying Jerica like this. And I'm just like, what? Why is Jerica doing this? I had this question last episode and I have it now. Why is she the only person in Jem and the Holograms that hides her identity? Why has she decided that Jerica cannot be the lead singer of this band? This is never explained. It's never given to you, like, what her motivation is to disguise herself. No one else is disguised. Kimber is Kimber, Shayna is Shayna, Aja is Aja. Everybody is themselves except for Jerica. Why? Is this revealed later? Is this something I have forgotten? Or is it just a Jerica thing? Here's my theory. It's a conspiracy theory about Jem and the Holograms. I really feel that Jerica is like, seriously, has some sort of dissociative identity disorder. And this is her opportunity to be something other than Jerica Benton. Okay? And that's fair. I have nothing negative to say about anybody who wants to do a little cosplay. And I think that Jem is holographic cosplay. And that's fine. But I don't understand why she feels the need to do it. And then she compounds the issue even more by lying to her boyfriend about it. If Rio is your road manager, why can't you also tell Rio, hey, I'm going to disguise myself as Jem for whatever bizarre reason. And I'm going to be the lead in this band, and I need you to help keep this secret. Wouldn't it be beneficial to have your road manager also in on this so that he can also cover for you instead of, your staff always trying to convince Rio that Jerica is up in a building somewhere or her plane was late or whatever these excuses are? I don't understand this secret. And the secret is the cornerstone of the whole show, and I don't understand why it exists. I really think there's some sort of loophole. Like, if she's a member of a band or something, she can't embezzle from Starlight Music, or there has to be some sort of legal thing where or like, because she owns the Starlight House and takes care of foster children, she also can't be the lead of a band because it makes her irresponsible. Or maybe it's a tax thing. Like, she has to prove what? It's like, getting SNAP benefits or something. Like, you have to prove that you only make a certain amount of money in order to collect a certain amount of government assistance. So maybe, like, she can't be the front member of this band and has to have separate bank accounts and a separate boyfriend.
Jem will be right back after these messages.
Everything is interrupting me, and I have about this much energy for this. I can't handle things right now. I'm literally operating on like no spoons. If anybody knows what Visible is, my Visible tracker is basically like, you have approximately, like, you're dead. Yeah, this much of, if you've ever seen those commercials on social media where the girl's like, oh, you want to go to the movies later, and the girl's like, let me check my Visible and I can tell you, and it has a graph and it basically says, no, you're not going to the movies because you're dead.
What is this? It's Visible. It's a pacing tool that lets me know how much energy I have each day. Well, we all get tired. Yeah, well, today I woke up with a morning stability of 2, which is based on real data. Oh, so you're like tired? Yes, fatigued. I mean, look at my pace point budget. I've used up 2 pace points just walking here today. So it's not all in your head then.
That's kind of like what's going on right now. When you have a chronic illness, you have to count your spoons very carefully, and you have to utilize your energy very carefully. And my energy is like non-existent, but I really wanted to get this video filmed because I think I'm going to have even less energy at the end of the week. So, like, I'm barely holding it together right now, and I'm so exhausted, and I kind of want to cry, and I think I might be crying right now, actually. If one more alarm goes off, or like one more announcement happens, or my phone dings or something, I'm gonna lose it. So where was I? Shit. Where was I? So I was talking about Jerica and her dissociative identity disorder. I don't understand how she can just kiss Rio and she's all up on him and she's like, oh, don't you like me? And oh, Rio. And he's like, I can't keep doing this to Jerica. And she is totally like allowing him to torment himself like this. I don't understand. And honestly, even when I was growing up watching this, I remember having this conversation with Michelle, who was my friend on my bus, who was the bus stop after me. And when she got on the bus, we would just immediately start talking about Jem because it was on like just before I had to go to the bus stop. So I don't know, 7:30. I don't know what time it was, but I would watch Jem downstairs, and then as soon as it was over, I had to get my butt to the bus stop. It was always very close, but I had time to just finish the episode before I had to go to the bus. And then the next stop, Michelle would get on, and then she would sit down in the seat next to me, and we would just dive into whatever happened in the latest Jem episode. And I remember Michelle and I having this conversation about Jerrica and Jem and how she's dating Rio or keeping Rio in this cycle of feeling like he's constantly cheating on his girlfriend with another woman. And like, that made no sense even back then. And this is middle school. Okay. This is junior high. And we're just like, that doesn't seem right. You know, that she's keeping him trapped in this, like, he constantly feels terrible about himself. I can't imagine what Mr. Pachenko is going through 24 hours a day. And I don't understand why she's doing this to him. It gets even worse in this episode, but let me not get ahead of myself. So the Countess Von Fish is like, the Misfits are terrible, and we don't like them, and kick them off the boat, and whatever. She's basically saying what we're all thinking, that the Misfits are a friggin' menace to society, right? So Billy D. Williams and Shayna are there, and Billy D. is like, I'm going to help you with your music video. Or no, I think Jem says, the only way to beat the Misfits is to make better music than them or something like that, which you already do. Actually, technically, no. Judging by the songs in this episode, I'm going to say the Misfits are going to win this one because this episode is filled with probably the worst Jem and the Hologram songs ever. I don't even listen to them. They're not on my playlist. I can't stand them. If I hear Twilight in Paris one more time, I'm going to scream. So she's like, we have to make better music than we have to finish cutting our album. And everybody, the Countess, the Duchess, is she a Duchess or a Countess or a Dowager or whatever? the Duchess, the Countess Le Poisson or whatever. She's like, oh, you can use my private jet. And the music producer's also there, and he's like, you can use my money or my whatever. And Billy D. Williams is just like, well, I can help do your video right now. I don't understand how it is that everybody on the planet is willing to just give Jem and the Holograms money, yachts, mansions, chickens, whatever else they require. I think if Jem was like, I'm really in need of a planet right now, I'm sure somebody would show up and be like, you can have Mars. I don't understand how they have this much insane amounts of privilege. Who are these people? It's not like Jerrica's father. Was he like somebody prestigious? Because when they show his funeral in the first episode, there's like 3 people there. I don't get it. What is it about Jem and the Holograms that makes everybody want to just pour money onto them? Billy D says, let's start filming right now. I think the music producer's like, I'm going to fly you to Paris. And the Duchess is like, I'm going to give you my jet and let you fly to Paris. And we're going to pick up all the costs of everything. I don't get it. What is it with them? It's like they have to do absolutely nothing. All they have to do is show up and sing Twilight in Paris. And someone should slap all of them for singing Twilight in Paris. It gets worse. So they go to Paris to film their video Twilight in Paris because they couldn't just use a studio or a green screen or some CGI or some shit to make it look like they're in Paris. No, they have to go. Pizzazz is pissed that Eric won't send them to Paris. And Eric literally says,
because, my dear Pizzazz, there's only so much money I can embezzle from Starlight Music until I own it.
There is only but so much money I can embezzle out of Starlight Music. He says it with his whole chest without even a pause. There is only so much money I can embezzle out of Starlight Music before I own it, he says. And Pizzazz is like, whatever. So he calls Carl, Zipper, Biff, Spider, that guy with the ginger with the butt chin, and says, I'm going to send you to Paris. Hold on. He doesn't have money to send the Misfits to Paris. I'll give it to him that the Misfits is a band of 3 and Spider, Zipper, Carl is just one guy. Or I've given him 3 names, so maybe he's 3 guys. Spider, Zipper, Carl is one guy. So he can afford to send one guy to Paris. He can't afford to send all 3 Misfits to Paris to cause trouble. Okay, Eric, whatever. So he immediately gets on the phone, calls Zipper, Carl, Spider, and says,
Here's your ticket to Paris. Yeah, what's the gig? Sabotage Jem's video. Any way you can.
Eric has this weird idea in his mind somehow that if he just sabotages everything or plants bombs or sets fire to the Starlight Mansion and things like that, that this is somehow going to keep Jem and the Holograms from making music. I don't understand why he thinks this. He thinks sabotage is the only way to do things. And for some reason, he only has one henchman. One. Spider Zipper Carl is not the ideal henchman. I would think that after the first 2 times that you sent him to do things, and each time they ended in some way, shape, or form with fire, he probably should not get on a plane and go to Paris. Okay. I don't know what to say. So we go to Paris. We're in Paris. Paris. France. City of Lights. Is that Paris or is that Italy? I think it's Paris. They go to Paris and Paris is full of nothing but red and white cars and people in berets. Those kind of guys. So they're filming Twilight in Paris. Billy D is giving... Don't laugh. I don't have the energy to laugh. I'll lose all the shred of visible energy I have. Billy D is telling Jemica how to walk, talk, and look at the camera for her scene.
Okay, let's rehearse it. Da 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 to here. Then you look around, move left. Okay?
Got it.
Da 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 da. Turn left. Look here. You're looking lovely. He's one of those kind of guys. He's a very enthusiastic director, and he's singing and everything. Twilight in Paris. Look at the camera. Turn left. That kind of guy. So Kimber is pissed, and when I say pissed, I mean pissed. She is like, Jem is not the only person in this video. Surprise. She actually is. Surprise. You're not really even in the video. It's so bad. They are putting all of their focus on Jem. Everybody. I mean, Billy D. Williams has clearly dumped Shayna for Jem because he's all about Jem at this point. Jem is the only person in this music video. The holograms are just like sitting on a street corner eating baguettes and just really pissed off. Actually, no, it's just Kimber that's eating baguettes. Everyone else is just like, whatever, this is just life, It's interesting that Shayna and Aja are the two that are really fine being completely submissive to Jem, and Kimber is the only person who's pissed about how she's being treated, which is actually fair because they're being treated terribly. Yes! Corey did not know that Kimber and Jerica were sisters, and I don't think they actually have said that in the show at any point. Or maybe she may have she introduced them as like the holograms, but I don't think she ever said that Kimber is her sister. And I'm not sure they ever said that in any of the episodes. The jealousy does make more sense, right? Because she's not just staff. It would be weird if the staff was, jealous. But yeah, I don't think they ever said it. I only know it because I know about the show and I looked up all the information, but I am pretty sure they have never mentioned it. Or maybe they said that Did they ever say that her name was Kimber Benton? I don't think they mentioned it. So I'm not sure you missed it because I don't recall them ever saying that. It's something that I know, but I don't think they told you. I know it because I looked it up, or maybe it comes up later or something, but I feel like I've always known this, but I'm pretty sure that in the first few episodes, they don't tell you who those people are. They're just introduced as her friends and people who work at the Starlight House, which is why I call them staff. Because you don't treat your friends like this. Seriously. Your friends keep your secrets, but you don't treat your friends like crap. You treat your staff like crap. I mean, we are talking about Jerrica Benton, who's super rich and super white, and it doesn't surprise me that she treats her ethnic staff really badly, but she also treats Kimber really badly, which is weird. So Kimber storms off, and she's like, forget it, I'm done with this crap, and she's about to get, like, mugged or something by Spider Zipper Carl, who's hiding in a Parisian alley. I really don't know how he is just allowed to walk around Paris, like in the same clothes he's been wearing for a week. So he's like, come here, I'll get you. I don't know what he's planning on doing, but I have a feeling it's probably not going to be good. And Rio grabs her and saves her from being accosted by Zipper. And he's like, why are you leaving? What's the problem? And Kimber's like, understandably so. I'm tired of being treated like, a third-class citizen. I'm tired of, Jem getting all of the attention, and it comes across very authentic. Marsha. It definitely comes across like I understood where she was coming from. I was not mad at Kimber. I was like, you go, preach, do your thing, because it's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Like, everyone's treating the holograms kind of like how Duchess Von Fish treated the Misfits in the last episode, where she's like, oh please, you are not coming on my yacht, and like they're just trash, like from Jersey or something. I don't know why the holograms get dissed so much in this episode. I understand that the focus is Jem and the holograms, but who else is going to play the two drums, and who else is going to play guitar in their armpit, and who else is going to mash keys? Is Jem playing all these instruments? Can you imagine if she was just running? She just could make holograms of 3 different versions of herself to play instruments. I guess she doesn't really need the holograms. I mean, if you look at it that way. So Rio grabs Kimber, actually kind of, violently, and he's like, you're acting like a brat. I'm like, dude, you're cheating on your girlfriend with your girlfriend. You want to talk, okay? You cannot cast stones. You do not cast stones, Mr. Cheating on your girlfriend with your girlfriend. So Kimber's like, no, this is bullshit. This is absolutely unfair. And I'm in agreement with her on this. This isn't good. And she's so mad that she's about to reveal that Jem is actually Jerrica, which is the right thing to do. I mean, isn't it? What bothers me, too, is Aja and Shayna are like, I can't believe you were about to reveal her secret. And Kimber's like, yeah, but Rio should know. And Shayna's like, yes, he probably should, but that's Jerrica's decision. Because Jerrica is the end-all, be-all of all of our decision-making. Jerrica is the queen of everything. We do what Jerrica says. Jerrica. Okay, look. This is the commentary of employees. Only employees feel this way about their employer. Oh no, we can't. It's not up to us. No. She's in charge of everything. It's weird. It's weird and creepy, the relationship that all these women have with each other. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be analyzed. Anyway, while the Jem and the holograms are in Paris, the foster children are at home, and they're just hanging out in Starlight House, or actually not Starlight House, sorry. They're living in the mansion now. They're hanging out in their mansion that was just given to them, I might add. Another one of these gifts just given to Jem. And they're like reading magazines and playing board games and vacuuming and doing things because they're completely alone and unsupervised in a mansion, and they're just reading magazines and watching TV. who is watching the Starlight Girls? Who's in charge? I know that there's a cook, like a house mother or some woman that is there with them, an older lady, but she's nowhere to be found in these scenes. Ashley, I couldn't believe this. This chick turns around and she's like, "Where's our $30?" So we're still on this $30 for the. I honestly, that took me aback because I had forgotten about that $30. I don't even think I mentioned it in the last video. That I mentioned that Ashley ran into the burning Starlight house in order to save the honor jar from the fire, and that it wasn't worth the $30, or she wasn't worth $30, or whatever it was. But like, they are still on this. These Starlight Girls are serious. They're like, "Ashley, do you still have that $30? You guys are living in a mansion. You are just hanging out. You don't have to worry about a thing, and you still want that $30. These chicks are serious." And Ashley's like, "I have that $30." And the Misfits gave her money because she was the one that let them in, that opened the gate for them in the last episode. So that's why she has $30. So she's like, "I have the $30." And the chick is like, "Where did you get the $30? Ashley is like, "What the ever loving fuck? Who cares? I got $30 for the honor jar." And the chick is like, no. How you earn the money is as important as, the fact that you're replacing the money. And Ashley, in all of her wisdom, says, "You guys hate me." I love it when you confront people with logic and morals. They determine that means you hate them. Ashley is unwell. And it wouldn't surprise me that Starlight House would maybe have some not necessarily well-adjusted and, slightly dysregulated foster children in it, but Ashley is not well. I decided that I think that Kimber is Ashley's mother. I think Ashley is the illegitimate child of Kimber because they both have the exact same mental illness and the exact same level of emotional dysregulation. Ashley is out of control. She throws the money and she leaves, and she's determined that, she doesn't need any of these people. This is the same girl, remember, that ran into a burning building to save an honor jar that she originally stole money out of. She's also the same. Oh, I know, but I'm saying she's upset even though she stole money out of this jar, and then she risked her life to save the jar that she stole money from in the first place, and then accepted a bribe to put money back into the honor jar that they still somehow need because they need to buy another refrigerator for the mansion?
Jem will be right back after these messages.
Okay, so my software that I use to record these keeps crashing on me. It actually did last episode, but I managed to salvage most of it. But I noticed when I glanced up at my computer screen that it had crashed somewhere in the middle of what I was doing. So I'm using the same camera, but I'm just going to sort of record it more raw instead of recording it directly into the computer, just to save myself a little bit of extra editing. I'll just record it raw and then do the extra, the extra work. Hopefully it should come out approximately the same. I'm a little wary because this camera is a little overly expensive and therefore it does things I don't want it to do. And I like being able to route it through my software so that I can control how I want it to look, as opposed to the camera just sort of doing, look at it, it's doing whatever it wants to do right now. It's like, hello, we are going to do whatever we want to do to you in 4K. Hopefully it'll come out with the same kind of quality. If not, I apologize, but it's easier to do it this way instead of me going on for like an hour and then realizing that somewhere at like the 20-minute mark, my software crashed and I lost the whole rest of what I was saying, because I hate trying to do these twice. They never come out as good as the first time. So bear with me while I figure out the best way of doing this and the best angle that I want to do this at, and hopefully I will be able to resume shortly. Haha.
And now, back to Jem.
Okay, I'm back. All right, I'm going to finish or try to finish this video with this setup, and hopefully it'll turn out okay. Let me put this mic thing somewhere. I'll put it in my lap. No one can see down there. You know you want to. All right. Where was I? I know. Let me look at my notes here. I know I was somewhere. I think I was talking about the Starlight people. The Starlight Chillins and Ashley and the Honor Jar. Yes, right. Okay. So I like the Starlight Girls because they are not moochers and they're not going to live off of someone else's generosity. They are going to go around, mow lawns, clean rich people pools, take out rich people garbage, and maybe become like little preteen chauffeurs in order to earn their own money for the Honor Jar to buy a fridge. They probably have 3 fridges in that mansion, so I'm not sure what they're saving up to buy. Maybe some new clothes. How about that? So that was a bizarre thing that I thought was like strange, that no one is watching these foster children. But you know, it's Jerrica. Jerrica Benton can do whatever she wants. Meanwhile, back in Paris, Zipper Spider Carl is on top of a building doing his sabotage thing. Now, at least this time, he is not, using bombs or knocking over lanterns to create fire. He is actually now shoving poles in gargoyle butts and shoving them over with all of your might. Shove the gargoyle down onto Jem and the Holograms. And luckily, they're saved. I don't know who saves them. Did they roll out of the way? Or did someone spot him up there or something? All I know is that the gargoyle didn't hit anyone, and it cuts to Billy D. Williams holding Shayna, and he's just like, thank God, the gargoyle was only going to hit those white ladies and not my chocolate eruption.
And they got chocolate eruption!
And he seemed very excited about this. So, what? Chocolate eruption.
Do you know you're adding things you have to find and put in there by the minute? Like, I think you've added 5 more in the last since you started.
Corey's always informing me, as if I don't know this already, that when I do these videos, look, our entire family speaks in quotes. That's what we do. Almost everything that comes out of our mouth is a movie quote or a television show quote or a meme, a random commercial or whatever. That is just how we communicate with one another. And we can have whole conversations like this. So whenever I'm doing one of these videos, that's just how I talk. I talk in quotes, I quote things, and that means that I have to find clips for all of the things that I'm quoting so that you guys know what I'm quoting. And yes, that takes a lot of extra editing time. So every time I add one, Corey's like, you just added another thing you're going to have to look up. Thank you, Corey, for reminding me.
You're welcome!
I know. And it does add a lot of extra time when I'm editing these together. But I think it's also kind of funnier in that regard that I do that. But yeah, I'll say like really obscure things that don't really mean anything until you actually see them in the context, or not in the context, until you see them and understand the context in which I'm using them. That's what I meant to say. So yeah, I know I make these videos so much longer because of all the quoting that I do.
You do.
I'm sorry, that's just how I talk. I'm not ashamed. So where was I? I'm lost now.
Sorry.
Oh yes, this brings us to the whole Twilight in Paris thing. Y'all, we all love Jem. We all love Jem for different reasons. We all love Jem in our own way. I love Jem because I love the music, and that doesn't mean that I like all the music. What I mean is, I like Britta Phillips. I like the fact that these amazing people created, produced, like 8 songs. No, it's not 8. So like 3 or 4 songs a show. These fully realized, lyricked, produced songs like every week. And that kind of work and effort is not something that goes unappreciated by me. I absolutely was astounded by that as a kid. I was even more astounded when I got older and I understood what kind of goes into that process. I love Jem because of what it was at the time, and it was so ambitious, and they were trying to do something so very different. I appreciate that. And as I got older, I became more aware of how powerful some of the lyrics of a lot of the songs were, and just the high quality of the music that was created by everybody there, and the work that Christy Marks did to create basically something out of nothing, right? These episodes that she wrote. And we're talking someone who's, quite, a good writer. Like, if you know, Christy Marks wrote a couple of episodes of Babylon 5. So she's not like, some schmuck from somewhere, She's a writer, she's capable, and they gave her this like non-existent, IP to create like an entire show out of. And just the effort and the creativity, that's why I love Jem. There's a lot of reasons that are not just simply because I like some of the songs. It's a more of a real appreciation for the show. As much as I like to sit here and talk about it, and it seems like I'm making fun of it, I'm really not. It's really all love, and I'm just enjoying the process. But I can also say that some of the songs are trash. Absolute trash. And I often say that it's probably because of the schedule and how it's like, look, we need a song called Twilight in Paris, write it tomorrow, or go down to the deli, get yourself a pastrami on rye and write me some lyrics to the song kind of speed, and like, we got to put these things together. So they're not all going to be Welcome to the Jungle or Only the Beginning or Come On In, the Water's Fine, right? They're not all going to be at that same quality. Some of them are going to be Get Out of My Ways, and some of them are going to be Twilight in Paris. Twilight in Paris is definitely my Madeline Ashton.
We haven't heard from you in a while. Is there anything you'd like to talk about with the group?
Yes. I would like to talk about
Twilight
Madeline
in Paris. I feel like, if someone wants to talk about Twilight in Paris with me, I'm going to lose it. There are some Jem songs that I will throw them out of a window and set them on fire if I hear them. Twilight in Paris is one of them. The other one is, what is it? You ought to see your eyeball. What was the second song in there? What was it called? Did I write it down? I wrote down Getting Down to Business because that is a good song. I actually like that song. But there's another song. Oh, I Got My Eye on You. I really think that when you are forced to write 8 songs every 5 minutes, there's no way that all of them are going to be good. And some of you may like Twilight in Paris, and I love that for you. I just cannot with that song. It's a terrible song, mainly because it's just a mess. And I think there's a line in there that's something like, I look up in the sky and all I see is your face, or something. It's a wordy, long sentence that's trying to fit into the melody. And it's just something like, Twilight in Paris, I look up in the sky and all I see is your face eating a thing of ice cream and I absolutely love and adore you in Paris, kind of thing. It's too much. It's not a good song, and I can't stress that enough. It is a burning dumpster fire of a song. And honestly, Britta has so much range. Like, she's got good range. And no, I can't put that in. That's not an actual quote, except from one of my friends, and I can't put it in. But it's something that we say. She's got amazing range, and high registers, medium registers, even low registers. And Twilight in Paris, and I think I Got My Eye on You are in sort of these lower registers. And I feel like her voice isn't as strong at those lower registers. I mean, she can carry a tune, don't get me wrong, but there's something about those lower register songs. They don't give her a chance to show her power and like really open up, you know, how she sings. So I don't like them partly for that reason, and I just think the lyrics are so bad. So I'm not gonna do a lip sync to Twilight in Paris. I can't stand it. Oh, even I keep repeating it. Now it's stuck in my head. So the video for Twilight in Paris is really like, have you noticed that almost all of like the Jem and the Hologram songs that are sort of about love or whatever are always about Rio? Like, Jemica does nothing except sing about how much she wants to bed Rio. All of the songs that are about love are about her love for Rio. One, can you imagine how uncomfortable that must be for Rio? That constantly you just have Jem singing songs about wanting to bed you all the time, even though you already have a girlfriend, even though the girlfriend is her, the call is coming from inside the house kind of thing. But like, it's really giving seriously Boy George and Culture Club. And those of you Gen Xers know what I mean by that. Like, she's sitting there and she's writing songs and everyone's playing songs and all the songs are about her love for some guy that's a little maybe one-sided, or maybe it's a little uncomfortable to be talking about this relationship and certainly singing about it in public and making songs about it on the radio. Rio is being hounded. I would almost call this harassment. Let's be honest. He's being harassed. He's being sexually harassed by somebody with dissociative identity disorder, and her friends are covering it up. Prove me wrong.
Jem will be right back after these messages.
So on top of this incredibly uncomfortable thruple triangle Jemica thing that's going on, we have the Misfits. And basically the Misfits spend a good chunk of this episode grooming a child. Yeah. I mean, we're going to call it what it is, okay? It's grooming. They basically spend the whole episode trying to convert her to their, what do you call it, alt bad girl way of seeing the world. And what's weird about this is that, like, the Misfits music, again, I don't know when this changeover is because my Jem playlist is not in any kind of order. It's an order of just whenever I got the songs on my phone. But I've been listening to these songs for years. And there's a certain point where, like I said before, the Misfits songs turn more serious, more mature, like they're trying to give a different feel, and in a way they come off sort of making Jem and the Holograms songs sound really superficial and without any kind of depth at all. The Misfits songs suddenly like really change, and I don't know if it's like second season that this happens or if it's part of first season. I really don't remember the order that the songs show up, but their sort of belief system as bad girls or whatever is very obviously wrong, right? In the early episodes, like, they're very clear on, you know, in trying to groom this girl into their ways, like what they do and how they see themselves in the world, and that they take and they don't ask permission and they don't say please and thank you. And we're watching them over the course of these 3 episodes do violent, selfish, brutal, sociopathic, psychopathic things that are incredibly disturbing. But what's interesting is their music almost becomes like this almost sort of radical feminist perspective that it takes on later on. It's a weird shift. So it's like, it's almost like they're trying to suggest this way of living and way of going through life where you don't have to ask permission for existing, which is a great idea. But then it's kind of watered down into this. Basically, their whole perspective can be summed up into one word, which I love. Gimme, right?
And none of this please and thank you stuff. Gimme!
Pizzazz's delivery of this word, gimme, and I was really hoping that they were going to go into gimme, 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 because that's a great song, and I thought it was going to be right there when she said that, but it wasn't, and that was disappointing. But I love that song, and I love it because it is the epitome of what the Misfits, or what Pizzazz kind of sees as her way of moving through the world, and her way of asserting herself is gimme, gimme, right? And I get where they're going with this idea, but in the first few episodes, and probably the entire first season, the idea of gimme is more self-absorbed. It's more to take away from Jem, to take away from other people who are not me, to hold on to, or to take what other people have for myself. Even like towards the end, when they push their way onto Lindsay's show and Stormer says, we want equal time, right? It's like they don't like the fact that Jem and the Holograms get all of this special treatment. And I get where they're coming from. It's like everybody just gives Jem anything and everything, and she doesn't have to do anything. She doesn't have to work for it. She doesn't even have to ask. They're just giving it to her. So I love that line where, you know, they push their way onto the show, shove Kimber and Shayna off the end of the couch, and they're like, we want equal time. This isn't fair. And it's, you know, / gimme is basically this concept. But I like that eventually it shifts into what I'm going to call this perspective of, like, you have to assert, you have to push, you have to be unapologetic, right? And you can't ask for things. You have to kind of take what you can when you can kind of perspective. God, I'm quoting from The Secret of Nim.
I've learned this much. Take what you can, when you can. Then you've learned nothing.
And I get that. I get where that is coming from, that you can't afford to be weak. You know, Welcome to the Jungle has that feel to it. It's hard, you know, you have to kind of be able to survive out there in the jungle, in the real world kind of thing. And the I am giant of it all, you know, you can't put me down. And what's that song they sing about winning, about how they're not going to be apologetic for winning, and they're going to shove it in everybody's face that they've won, and they're not going to be ashamed for being the best. Like, I love those ideas, and I think all those ideas are wrapped into Misfits songs, but it starts out as gimme. It starts out as we're the best. Like, you suck, and you have to suck so that we can be the best. But it eventually evolves, and I think that's something that I like about the Misfits music, and what I like about, you know, whether Christy Marks did this or whatever direction they decided to take it, where the Misfits became less a group of jerks and more these sort of ultra independent, slightly sort of radical feminist types. That is very interesting to me, and I'm looking forward to kind of discovering that shift, or when that shift actually happens in the show. But that gimme is something that I deeply appreciate coming from Pizzazz. I'm not saying that I agree, but I love that she sums up their entire philosophy of life in that one word and that delivery of that word. You know, we don't say please or thank you. It's gimme. There's something about that that's so wonderful and powerful and twisted and wrong, and also on the border of becoming something very interesting. The other thing, since I'm talking about Pizzazz and now Pizzazz is in my head, did anybody watch Arrow back in the day? I love that show. I love all the mask and cape shows that were on the CW. But in Arrow, there's an actress, Katie Cassidy, who is actually the daughter of Sean Cassidy. And again, if you're my age, you know who Sean Cassidy is. She played Laurel Lance on Arrow. Great, miswritten, mistreated character for so many seasons. But again, she's actually a very underappreciated actress. I swear to you, every time Pizzazz comes on the screen, I see Katie Cassidy's face. I think that had they made a proper Jem and the Holograms movie, don't get me started, they should have cast her to play Pizzazz, because she literally looks exactly like her. She has the same, you know, butcher axe chin and like this, the chiseled features. You just have to slap a bit of makeup on her, and I'm telling you, Katie Cassidy is Pizzazz. Again, prove me wrong.
And now, back to Jem.
I'm way off track here as far as my recount of the show, but I actually don't think much happened after that. I feel like the episode was so fast, and they were trying to put so much information in there, and it feels like, I mean, like I said, the shows are only 20 minutes, but it felt like so quick. I don't even know that I'm missing anything at this point. I'm trying to think of what else happened after that. The grooming of Ashley. The episode should have been called The Grooming of Ashley. She's totally going to become a misfit, I feel. I feel like she's going to be like this secret spy that the misfits use against the holograms. Oh yeah, I did mention that they that was the other thing I forgot. I mentioned the show, but not how we got there. I don't remember when this happened. I think this is the last thing that happened in the show, but when they get back from Paris and they're trying to compete, you know, while they were in Paris for a day, I guess the misfits took over the entire United States of America and plastered their pictures everywhere, and everyone's playing their music, and there's this whole competition thing between Jem trying to get their music out there. And see, this is what happens when you fly to Paris and you don't consider that the rest of your audience is like trapped in the United States and having to deal with the misfits while you're in Paris making music videos. This is how you lose your spot.
Bitch! Ah! I've gone for 5 minutes, and you think you can park your skinny ass in my spot? Fuck off!
So the Getting Down to Business is another one of those songs that teeters on the edge for me. I love that song. I like it lyrically. I like the song Getting Down to Business. I think that it's very positive, and I think it has a great message, and I love the sound of it.
We've just been playing, fooling around while everybody else is out there covering ground. We gotta take a whole new tack to get back on the track. And it's time we get started, getting down to business. Time we get started, getting down to business. They're all saying we don't have a chance. We don't wanna let them write us off in advance. There's only one thing we can do, one thing to make our dreams come true. And it's time we get started, getting down to business. Time we get started, getting down to business. And it's time we get started, getting down to business. Time we get started, getting down to business. They're all saying we don't have a chance. We don't wanna let them write us off in advance. There's only one thing we can do, one thing to make our dreams come true. And it's time we get started, getting down to business. Time we get started, getting down to business. And it's time we get started, getting down to business. Time we get started, getting down to business.
Getting Down to Business is one of those songs that I sing in my head all the time when I'm doing chores. I love the song. I genuinely do. And I think that out of this whole episode, that's the one good song that comes through for me. the Misfits songs are... Is there a Misfits song? No, they're mostly sort of reiterating the Making Mischief, which is, again, a great Misfits song that sort of encompasses exactly what I was saying before. And they're kind of rehashing that song in this episode. They're doing a recording, and that's the song that everyone's listening to on the radio. But when the holograms come back, Lindsay calls them and is like, I want to have you on my show for an interview. And Jem is like, oh, great. I'll get the holograms together. And she's like, oh, no. Keep your staff at home. We only want you. And this just fuels, Kimber's whole thing. She's already been to Eric's, and saying like, stop sending Zipper Carl to like sabotage us. I know what you're doing. And Eric tries to do his grooming too with Kimber. I know you're the real talent, and I wish I had someone like you, to come over to the dark side. We have cookies, that sort of thing. Like he's really trying to get Kimber to leave Jem and, poison her against Jem and all that. So when Kimber hears that the holograms are not invited to this interview, she's like, I'm out. She steals the Rolls Royce, takes off, and leaves. And again, I'm not mad at Kimber for this. It's really messed up, and it's even more messed up that Jerrica didn't think to fight for this until she left. Like, it's not until she really thinks about it. Maybe I should call Lindsay and tell her that we're, it's all of us or none of us kind of thing. She waits until Kimber storms out because she's tired of being, quote, the invisible woman behind Jem. And Corey so brilliantly said, I think Jerrica is the invisible woman behind Jem. Which is the best line of the show as far as I'm concerned. That is absolutely true. Kimber storms out and Jerrica has to like get out of her like me mindset to be like, maybe I shouldn't have accepted that. Maybe I should call Lindsay back and tell her that we're all coming. And what does she do? She calls Lindsay. She's like, Lindsay, if it's not me and the holograms, it's none of us. And Lindsay's like, okay, just be here in an hour. How hard was that, right? You couldn't have like gotten your head together and fought for your girls. I will fight for my girls. It's like you.
There you go again.
You couldn't have done that in the first place. Like Kimber had to storm out for you to suddenly realize that you need to like stand up for your staff. Really, with the alarm?
And now back to Jem.
They go on Lindsay's show, all of them, and the Misfits show up, like I said earlier, and just kind of wreck the place. And again, the episode ends with absolute mayhem and more fire. Everybody is always on fire at the end of Jem and the Holograms. Someone is going to get crushed. Someone is going to explode. Why are these episodes so super violent? Like the last episode, there was a bulldozer attack. Some guy got thrown in his own pool. There's fires. The fire. Set the Starlight House on fire. I mean, they're violent. Like there's so much violence. The Misfits are horrendously homicidal. Why are these episodes so violent? Like the 80s cartoons are super violent. Like, again, my generation grew up with like Wile E. Coyote exploding every 5 minutes, literally setting himself on fire, getting burned with acid, getting pummeled into the ground, eating alum. I don't know. Like we were exposed to so much hyper violent cartoons, which is probably why we're so laid back and we don't give a shit. Cause like our heads have all this violent stuff in there and we're just like, whatever. It's just a typical Saturday morning. But every Jem episode ends with certain death. It really does. She's about to get electrocuted at the end.
And crushed.
Crushed?
Both at the same time. There, I did it for you.
Crushed and electrocuted both at the same time. I don't know. Why are they like this? I honestly did not remember that every episode ended on a cliffhanger of death. I did not remember that. What the hell? It's mind-boggling. But I think that's it. That's all that happened. It was a lot of psychological torture, a lot of, weird dissociative, identity disorder antics. There was
psychopathy.
A lot of psychopathy. There was a lot of stuff going on in this episode. Let me consult my notes because I feel like I may have missed something. Hold on. No, I think I said everything. There were some weird things, but like that's it. Like it just felt like there was nothing happening. Oh, here's the thing that I didn't mention. This is weird. You guys, whenever you talk about Jem and the Holograms, how do you say holograms? Do you say holograms? Or do you say holograms? Because in the episode, everyone says holograms.
Sorry, only you today, babe. I'll do a spot on the holograms later.
And now a special treat for all you Jem and the Holograms fans.
And it stood out to me. I know that's how it's spelled. Don't talk to me like that, okay? I know that's how it's spelled, but I've never in my life said holograms. And it was weird. Everyone was like, can you, I want to do an interview, leave the holograms at home. And when they go on the radio, the guy's like, I'm here with Jem and the Holograms. And I'm just like, holograms? Have I been saying this wrong my holo life? Like, is it, it's holograms, Jem and the Holograms. I want to say this from now on. Every time I reference a show, I want to say holograms. It just sounds so weird, but that is what everyone is saying. Holograms. Jem and the Holograms. Take your hose to the hologram. Get your hologram on. Yo, holo. Holo is like holo, like YOLO, holo. Did I just call myself a holo? Jem and the Holograms. The other thing that cracked me up is that when Ashley goes looking for the Misfits, and I'm not sure how she knows where the Misfits hang out, but the Misfits literally hang out at the club.
You know those criminals. They can't always find each other.
The criminals know where to find each other, Corey. She's not wrong. It's not like the club has a name or it's called the club where the Misfits hang out. Like that's on the sign. It's just called club. It's just club, and it has some musical notes. The Misfits hang out at club music notes. So the Misfits hang out in the club. Ashley goes to the club to find the Misfits, and they're all fam in the club. You know how it is, right? She goes in there, and they're like, hey, welcome to the club. I don't know why they just hang out at club. It doesn't even have a name. They couldn't even just think of a name for it. I would just call it Club Misfit or Misfit Club or, The Dive or Verdant or...
There you go again.
What was the club in Buffy? What was that called?
Oh, good Lord, I don't remember.
The Poseidon? No. It was the something, right? And the club in Teen Wolf had a name. All of the CW shows had names for their clubs. And I don't know why they had their own clubs. We didn't have our own clubs growing up. The Bronze, that's what it was called. The Bronze. But the Misfits, I guess they don't get a name for their, and it's not even like a Misfits club. Like when you go in, there's all these like regular people. They don't look like Riff Raff or something. Club Riff Raff. Like they all look like, it just looks like a normal dive bar or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, but why is it just called club? Club. Welcome to Club. Do you have a membership card? I thought that was hilarious. I love that they didn't even bother to give it a name. It's just club. So that's it. Honestly, I can't think of anything else that happened in this episode. I think you can sum up the whole episode with just gimme and club. Club gimme, or just gimme. I like that. It just gimme. I think that's what the name is going to be called from now on. I'm just going to call it gimme. They hang out at the gimme club. That's it. I swear. I don't think there's anything else that I missed. There's nothing else in my notes here. Oh no, there is something that I missed. When they're recording Twilight in Paris, I notice this every time. And I don't say anything because, again, time crunches, animation crunches, the way that the animation was done back then was crazy. And again, no one had the ability to freeze frame stuff back in the day, right? But when you freeze frame things, you see how janky the animation is. And I am in no way making fun of it. I know that shit was crazy back then. And they had to get stuff out like yesterday. But if you're going to make a cartoon about a band and, that plays actual like music, you have to kind of animate the band, right? Semi-appropriately. I'm not asking for you know, rotoscoping on your band. But you, come on. So when they're recording Twilight in Paris, Shayna only has 2 drums that she plays, and she pretty much plays them like this.
Even though she's sitting in front
She's sitting in front of a full drum set, but she never uses any of it. She uses these 2 drums right here. When Kimber's playing the keyboard, she's just mashing that thing. Mash, mash. But the thing that killed me, I had to freeze frame this, and I'm going to put it up on the screen because this killed me. Aja is playing a guitar, and that guitar is being held up by her armpit. She does not have a guitar strap. She literally holds a guitar under her armpit. She plays a guitar. She strums her own breast. I don't know why. I have never seen someone play the guitar from their armpit. It is the most janked animation for a band. If there's one thing you have to get right in some sort of cartoon about a band, it's the band playing instruments. You have to at least put some kind of effort into showcasing the band playing instruments. At least. I mean, that, like, if you do nothing else, at least show the band playing instruments. And I remember they put a lot of effort into the animation for the drums in the video for Beat This. That's another one of those songs that I have a lot of trouble with. I love that song so much, but it's also so awful at the same time.
Beat this if you can, or are you just an also-ran? I ain't no loser that you can dismiss. Beat this. Beat this. Beat this. Beat this. Go and try. If you can't, then wave goodbye. This is my moment, my turn at bat. Beat this. Beat that. Beat this. You think you're really something, don't ya? You think you've got it won, don't ya? But I've got news, I ain't about to lose. Beat this, do your best. And if you can, may I suggest you throw your hat in and blow a kiss. Beat this. Admit it, you can't. Beat this. Beat this.
But because Beat This is about a drummer, they showcased the drumming. And I haven't seen that video in a long time, and I don't think there was any rotoscoping in there, but they really showcased, I think Aja was playing the drums at that time. I don't think that was Shayna. Was it Shayna? I'll have to go back and check. But they really showed the drum playing for the song Beat This. So it's like, you know, they can do it. I think they just didn't have the time. But I've never seen someone play a guitar from their armpit. It was like a violin, but a guitar. And even the violin, it's not in your armpit. It's on your shoulder and your neck. Oh, not your armpit. Oh, I've never seen anything like that. In my head, I'm thinking, I've seen a lot of bands and cartoons, but like the River Bottom Nightmare Band plays instruments with more precision than Jem and the Holograms.
We think what we want. We do anything that we wish. We got no respect for animal, birdie, or fish.
The grass does not grow on the places where we stop and stand.
River Bottom Nightmare Band.
And Muppets shouldn't play instruments with more precision than people who can animate people playing instruments. You know what I'm saying? I realize that I'm a little all over the place, and I apologize. I think that my brain is there's a lot of brain fog, and I'm having trouble keeping track of things. And I literally watched this episode not like 45 minutes ago, but this episode was weird, and I think all the episodes are weird, but this one just flew, and I think they were just trying to cram so much information into it that it makes your head kind of spin. Hopefully, I will have worked out all this weirdness by the next episode, and hopefully I'll be able to like get something that makes sense as far as how I'm kind of doing these commentaries. I keep thinking I want to film myself while I'm watching it, but I'm trying to concentrate, and I don't really want to have to, play to the camera while I'm doing that. I would rather try to remember the episode to the best of my ability and, come up with stuff on the fly as I'm recalling the episode. But then, like I said, I forget things, so I kind of have to take notes too. And I feel like that's a little bit messy and all over the place. So I really need to kind of figure out the best way of doing this if I'm going to, keep doing it in this format. But I do think that filming myself while I watch it is not going to be as effective. It won't work as well. So I'll figure it out. I'm open to suggestions as well. But if you guys like how these are, then I'll just keep going the way that I'm going. As long as I'm watching the episodes and giving you guys some funny things to laugh at, I guess that's all that matters. I appreciate you guys coming to my website and watching the videos there, and also subscribing to my YouTube if you've done that, to watch the full commentary videos and not just the clips that I put up on TikTok. I really do appreciate the support and the interest that you guys have shown in what I'm doing, and I hope that you guys will continue to love it. I hope that I will continue to be able to bring these to you in some sort of relatively regular fashion at this point. Who knows? But I'll try my best. Thanks again. Please look forward to episode 4. I would say that I want to try to do this next week, but I can't guarantee that I would be able to do this next week. I'll definitely try to get them on a somewhat regular schedule if I can. But it's better for me to do them when I'm feeling at my best. And I think you guys would probably prefer that as well. So take care, everybody. Stay positive. Stay safe. And remember what I posted today. Do not let people shame you for having joy. Do the things that you enjoy. Watch Jem. Watch your K-dramas. Watch your anime, play your video games, do the things that fill you with joy. Joy is a powerful way of maintaining your strength and your resilience. Joy is what's going to separate you from the other people. Joy is how you can continue to thrive in these difficult times and help other people. You can't help anybody if you yourself are run down and distraught and joyless. It's really important to maintain your joy. So find it where you can, and don't let anyone tell you that you shouldn't be having joy or that you shouldn't be happy. That's just simply not true. In these times especially, it's important to hold on to your heart and hold on to your joy and find it where you can and share it with as many people as possible. Keep those smiles up and keep that strength up, no matter what. Don't let anybody try to shame you. I will see you soon for episode 4. Stay safe.